Hello, hello, hello. My name is Jules Hare, and I'm here with my beloved soul sister, Janel Willette. And we are here to have our next revolutionary conversation. Today, Janelle and I had decided on the topic of our relationship with uncertainty, because a lot of us are having some big experiences with uncertainty. And by a lot of us, I mean us as humans. We have a relationship with uncertainty. We all have one. I know in my own experience, a lot of the control and all of the parts of myself that want to make sure that I can contain and control and keep a hold of things because I really did like uncertainty. That was a huge part and is a huge part of my unfurling as I start to lean into more of surrender and trust and a connection to the divine. That feel of control and can't let uncertainty come in. And that relationship we all have in a very different way. But there's so much coming apart in our world right now that we felt it really very helpful to be able to just have a conversation about this and just be completely open with whatever shows up here today. So thank you so much, Janelle. I am so excited to see what reveals itself today.
Exactly. Well, the environment of, I think, everyone's world is really bringing this to a forefront. And, myself included. And I was just in deep contemplation over the weekend because as I was thinking about my relationship with uncertainty, it really brought me back to this assured place inside of me that made a decision what I was really for and what I was going to stand for, no matter what. And I remember about 25 years ago, one of my first teachers and mentors, Carolyn Mace, talked about the worst possible thing we could do is to sell your soul. And when she said that, I could feel it. And I felt at that moment, that was a pivotal moment for me. What is it like to sell your soul? And to me, it really brings back to that question of what's true for me and am I willing to stand for my own truth? Stand for who I am and what I know is true, what's right. Right. So, of course, that takes that inner contemplation of deciding and declaring for myself what's true and right. And then, secondarily, the willingness and that daily practice to continue to be true to myself. And when I practice that, I become so much more equanimous and in harmony with uncertainty. So, a lot of times we are faced with uncertainty and then it reverberates. But the more we harness and work on our own inner mastery of where certainty is and how we have this daily practice with harnessing the energy, the stability, the gravitas, the deep roots of that which I know is true. And that's what I'm going to stand for. In a way, that energy and that strength of self is an automatic boundary. And actually, because when we know what's true and we go into the world holding that in our center, it feels really good for people because I'm established in my center and my field becomes very in sync with the energies of the universe, right? So I'm not looking to control or cajole things, but be in harmony with, right? Being in harmony with what, as we've talked about before, is really true and truly real. Because when we can do that, then we truly become a leader from within ourselves. And always there's going to be something that's going to test, that's going to try and shake and unravel our exterior environment. But truly, nothing is breakable and shakable when we've established ourselves that way. So I have found, Jules, it's a really important practice for me. And I've just been reminded in the last couple of days because of some things that have come my way. Because as I recognize the uncertainties that I couldn't even have forecast come my way, how am I going to navigate and stay true to my North Star? And the more we've established that practice, and therefore that embodied reality that is established in me, the more I have this proactive energy to respond versus react. Because I've taken care of the garden, of my terrain, my sphere. And that's a gentleness, that's a strength, that is a peaceful, contented way of being in harmony with the self. Because even in our revolutionary leadership, we talk about the first order of business is how we lead our own lives. And so that really stems back to our relationship with ourselves.
And that relationship that we have with ourselves. Thanks for all the beautiful little nuggets that just came in. So, that relationship we have with ourselves when the tree gets shaken, right? When there's a big storm, right? Whether that storm's like somebody storming around you and you get caught in their storm, you're still there, right? It's still a part of what's happening for you to see and acknowledge and learn more about ourselves through. And that shift of going from a space of that life is happening to us and that we're the victim of it, right? And somebody's shaking my tree. Why is this storm happening? Why is this happening to me? To then going, oh, wait a second. Whew, I'm getting shaken. And what's really wanting my attention in this shaking, in this storm? Because just like you said, Janelle, like there's something inside of us that's wanting us to come to our center, to come to that point of stillness and knowing and certainty within. But it's doing everything it can from the outside, just like I often say when I'm working with people too. And some of my clients, way back when, a lot of parents, working with a lot of parents, I'd say it's like the inside of us is like going, hey, mom, 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 mom. And it's like they're pulling on you. That shaking, this uncertainty that's rattling you, it's doing the same thing. It's going, hey, Jules, like, wake up, like, look at what's happening here. We want to grow, we want to evolve, we want to change, but we need you to show us center again because we've been growing and now we need to remember our center again. Show us center. And just like you, Janelle. Yeah, go ahead.
Always a gift.
Always.
And if we're in our truth and in our center, we can truly recognize there's a gift here. There's a gift. It's a threshold. And beyond that threshold, there's a gift, right? Life will never give us more than we can handle.
Agreed.
And I remember being 10, being 15, being 25, where my world got so shaken. And I remember those words that God will never give you more than you can handle. And I used that like a sacred promise. And I held on to that tree in like the storm. I'm like, that's gonna hold me up in the midst of the storm. That's gonna take a lot of things away and shake up things that are going to probably be different forever. But there's something that's not ever gonna change. And that's what we have the opportunity to see, that hold on to what is truly real and really true. And that will continue to strengthen us and almost like laying these golden bricks of our foundation. And we never stop developing that foundation that makes us more strong and more steady and more sturdy. Because in some way, not only is that our gift to ourselves, but it's our gift to the world. Because how we operate and how we move in the world is really how we lead, because people can feel it, because you're in that equanimity, you're in that serenity, and in the power that is within the self.
And as you say that too, we're drawn to those people, right? Those people who have that certainty. And we've said this before with the Revolutionary Leadership Academy as well, like borrow my certainty, right? When you're around somebody and they have that embodied certainty, they don't have to say anything. They don't have to necessarily do anything. You can feel it radiate from them. You feel more comfortable being around them. When they make a decision, you feel comfortable getting behind that decision, even if you're uncertain of how you feel about it, because their certainty is just there, it's embodied. And there's a lot of power to knowing that us being ourselves, us trusting in that depth of building that foundation from the center of stillness, of connection to that which we know to be true, that inspires just by mere beingness.
Right, right. And I think bringing this to an integrated lifestyle, I like to say that it's the style by which we live that gives us these jewels. And for myself, a lot of people ask me how I develop it. And of course, I have a contemplative practice, but I also have a very dynamic practice when I'm out in nature. I love to be in nature because to me, the relationship I have with nature is so benevolent and always full of unconditional love. So, in a way, this relationship that I have been a steward of, a devotee to nature, my favorite places, I feel the intimacy, I feel the aliveness, I feel the nurturing, and I can feel like I can bask in that, and that it holds me in the midst of being so shaken and rattled. Sometimes I feel so broken. Sometimes I just need a big cry. I've got a place to go. And so I think what's important is that we all have two or three either routines or rituals or sacred places to go and to really let it out, whether it's a scream or a cry, the sobs and the beautiful cries, because we're human. We need to express. There's inspiration we take in, but we also need to express whatever's coming through. All these emotions and feelings are human. They're all okay. When they become not okay is when they're pent up, when they're suppressed, repressed. So the option, as I look at it, is you feel you now give it a home, express it, let it be compost. And a lot of times in nature, it's like composting. It's sacred fertilizer for the universe. It flows out. And so, in that, it's easier for the mind to let it go. You don't have to put it on anybody else. And you won't when you do your daily composting, your daily expressionism, because
Mm.
then you end up having this clear, light mind. And you come back to this new equilibrium every day when you've done your inspiration and your expiration. And then
Mm.
there's this fluid flow that invites new energy and a deeper solidity. So we all need to find our ways to have these sacred routines and rituals that we can really be with what's going on, not running away with it, not doing something so I don't have to feel it. Feel it and keep it going, right? It's like you're taking a poop, keep it going, right? Let things flow out, 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 giving them permission, right?
Mm.
Contraction is holding on. Release, expansion is letting it go.
And I love that analogy, and the imagery just jumped up in my being of the fact that today, as we film this, it is the first day of fall, right? And that opportunity to release the leaves. The trees don't hold on to their leaves. There's not a tree in the world that goes, oh, but I really like these ones. I'm just going to hold on to them. It's time. When the time is right, let it go. As humans, though, we have this tendency to go, oh, this is the best leaves I've ever created. I'm just going to hold on to them. Ugh, right? Or I'm having these big feelings. I really want to feel like I'm in control. I'll just keep them tight. And like you said, Janelle, like if you just keep holding on to them and keep holding on to them and keep holding on to them,
Mhm.
it gets harder to let go. But if you have a ritual, a routine of being aware of the things that were challenging of the day and actually just like it's uncomfortable, but it's a little bit of uncomfortable, and you're letting go of it every day, then it becomes way easier because you get used to it. And no, nobody dies. It wasn't that bad, right? Um, and it keeps moving and it keeps flowing, and you feel way less restricted. You feel less in need of controlling it all the time. And it gets easier and easier to just be with it because you trust that as you let it go, it will flow and you don't have to be stuck with it. But I think a lot of people that I work with, a lot of people in the community that I see have lots of conversations lately about that, like, oh, but we can't control it and we have to keep it like this and we can't change things. I live in a small community too. There's a lot of resistance to changing the way things are, right? Or times are changing and not wanting to change with the times. And we all have this alive in us in so many different ways. And we are changing. Like humanity is shifting, and we need leaders to be able to embody this new way of leading, that change is happening consistently and constantly, and certainty can come in uncertainty.
Exactly. And, underneath and outside of this nice play and balance of certainty and uncertainty is resilience, the ability to pivot and then recalibrate. Just like you spoke about fall, there's this constant change in the cycles of life. And we're in harmony with that. We can feel into and borrow the certainty of the seasons that have been going on for years and years and years before we even were here on earth, right? There are cycles that were here way before and that will continue way after our time on earth. And if we can get in sync with that, it's like the micro and the macro circadian rhythms. When we are in sync with that, our body thrives because that's what it knows. And so to feel our own rhythm in sync with the natural cycles of life is very regenerative and rejuvenating.
And it replenishes us from the
The
inside
natural
out.
world,
Mhm.
the
Mm.
natural world has inside of it a genius way of knowing the rightness. Is there a clock time in which the flowers blossom, the trees fall, or the tree leaves fall, right? But there is this great, I call it divine order of the cosmos. And what we want to do is get comfortable with this constant change, that we know it as the rhythm of life. Because when we are in harmony with that, we can better be resilient and pivot and know that change is an integral part of life. It's how we work with our own inner navigation that we are able to pivot and be resilient with that which we can't control, which might be about 99% of life, right? So that really comes with the style in which we live, and that becomes our lifestyle.
Mm. And as you say that, Janelle, and I invite everyone who's listening to this, watching this, to tune in to that within yourself, the style by which you live your life. Is that resonant with what your morals are, what your values are, where your priorities really are from your center? Because that, when they're out of sync, when they're out of alignment, we create our own inner uncertainty. Right? We're not being able to create from a space that's going to resonate with exactly that thing that we want to bring into our world. And then we wonder why is there disharmony? What's going on? Right? So that beautiful balance of the style by which we live our life and that matching what it is that we want to create in our world, how we want to dream bigger, the future we want to create, not just for ourselves, but for future generations to come.
Right. I love that, Jules. And the other image that comes to mind that I'd love to just share for a moment is our Revolutionary Leadership Academy is attracting the people who feel that something in them is really wanting to come alive and contribute and be a part of a new culture, a community. And these are the conditions that we are helping people foster so that we can come together and do some revolutionary things because each of us has genius skills, talents, and capabilities. And this together creating the revolution for humanity, each other, conscious commerce, evolutionary changes. We meet them, we have conversation, and in that meeting and coming together and learning how to become revolutionary in our own ways helps to create a culture. Because when we come together as revolutionary leaders, we move into this sphere of very undiluted energy, right? So when we talk about creating opportunistic ways to create revolution and new innovative ideas and letting new things be fostered and launched from this collaborative culture, we see that we have created a space that is in resonance. And resonance is that undiluted energy where, number one, we feel so much trust and comfort, that ease of these are my people. We're all for the same thing. And then people feel the strength of that culture of resonance that we create because that incubation station helps to bring each of us more and more alive and into it sparks the genius in each of us so that when we connect and collaborate, something greater than what we can imagine gets sparked to life.
And I love the feel that comes when you say that, because when we do this together, when we create this culture immersively, knowing and growing and learning and shared wisdom,
Mhm.
and we share it with the world, it's never about us. It's about the world and how we're able to give to that world. And it's always about us because we're what we bring to the equation. And that beauty of knowing that divine connection, that interwoven web between everything and everyone has to start here. And so I take this opportunity to thank everyone for tuning into this beautiful conversation. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this, Janelle? Just let it stream through.
I think the truth of it all is that our life at this moment has brought us everything we need to know to start again, to have a starting line that has no finish line. We have a goal, we have a vision, but let this journey of something that we connectively, collectively envision and cultivate and foster together, so that when each of us thrive, we as a collective thrive. And the more that we do that, it has a cascading effect. Let's have this go viral. And where does it begin? It begins at the golden nucleus within you and me and that person. So, this is where we begin the revolution within that inner genius that is so ready to come alive and live a brand new chapter. And each of us has a lot of experience that when we look at it as it brought us here to where we are, to this moment, that we're more ready than ever before. Every moment was a well lived moment that brought you here to this moment that can become a journey like no other.
And if you feel that, like I feel that, alive inside of you, if that golden nucleus is just beaming with excitement about what it has to offer the world, please don't hesitate to reach out because we are launching our Revolutionary Leadership Academy starting November. Soon it will be open for registration. So if this is something that is speaking to you, this is something that's igniting something in you, maybe something you've just been waiting to hear forever, or oh, I didn't even know that was there. And now I can't stop thinking about it. Uh, Reach out, share with us, send us a message, leave your comments about how this is catalyzed something in you. We'd love to hear back from you. And we look forward to having so many of you join us on this amazing revolution. Sending so much love to all of you. Thank you so much, Janelle. Looking forward to seeing you all soon.
Golden journey awaits.